Woo, I'm so excited for my guest today because she is a community builder. She is the CEO and founder of Book of Bijou and Empowered by Women. Through her Empowered by Women platform, she has cultivated a community that continues to uplift women in entrepreneurship through vendor fairs, networking events, the Empowered by Women podcast, their online women owned small business directory, and so much more. Her mission is to really remind women that they are not only capable, but so worthy of creating lives they love.
Hello, 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 and welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow, the podcast that delves into the depth of human potential and the transformative power of flow. On this show, we talk about peak performance, flow, energy, and bridge the gap between science and woo-woo. Through authentic stories and real-life examples, my guests and I will help you dive into your superpowers and create your next level of success. My name is Bea-Marie, neuroscience geek, flow enthusiast, and your guide to rewilding yourself. I'm on a mission to raise the frequency of the planet by supporting you to untame yourself and step into your flow. So welcome back to the stage, Krystal.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. Like I said, we have been in each other's orbit for almost a year now, but we never have actually chatted.
I know. Funny how that works out, huh? But I'm glad to finally have the opportunity to sit with you one-on-one today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. I would love to know before we start getting into the nitty-gritty about parenting. You are a businesswoman, you are a mother, you are a partner. So how do you get all of this? Like your baby is just like basically just born. Like how do you get all of this like under your head?
That's a great question. And I love that question because it's a question that I get often. And I really have a special place in my heart for all of my fellow mothers that are also in the entrepreneurship world because it is not easy. It is 100% not easy and it's not pretty. It's not perfect. There's no like magical formula that I'm about to share where it's just going to make your life 100% easier. For me, from what I found with my experience, it really is about learning how to have grace with yourself. And I think because I'm so passionate about what I do with my business, with our Empowered by Women community platform, it's the way that I look at, taking time away for my business. It's a form of self-love for me. It's a form of self-care for me because as much as I've always known that I was going to be a mom, that I wanted to be a mom, I also knew that I couldn't just be a mom. Like I would go crazy if I was just a stay-at-home mom. Shout out to all my stay-at-home moms out there. That is not an easy job. I need to be able to take time for myself. And so that's kind of how I look at my business and also just recognizing what am I doing it for, right? Knowing the bigger impact of it all. And I think a lot of hesitation with moms in business is that guilt, right? That parent guilt of, am I really going to choose to spend time on my business versus choose to spend time with my children, which is, fleeting. It goes by so quick. And before you know it, they're grown up. All those little moments are gone. But, again, recognizing the bigger picture. And what I'm trying to do is not only create financial freedom and time freedom to be able to spend time with them, to be able to give them all the things that I want, but to also really be a role model to them, to show them that they can do whatever it is that they want. When I say follow your dreams, do something that makes you happy, it's not just words that are coming out of my mouth. I can show them that I'm actually out here doing it too because I want them to realize their worth. So when I'm going back to your question about how I do it all, it is having grace with yourself. It's recognizing how powerful showing up is, regardless of the extent to which you're showing up. I have not been able to find like this is the perfect schedule for me, because I think just for moms that just doesn't work out, especially moms for little ones, right? You're really on their schedule, but still being mindful of, okay, I do have, 30 minutes at this time to carve out and knock some things out and show up in the best way possible, and have grace with yourself for not being able to check off all the boxes that maybe you wanted to do that day, but still say, wow, I got something done today, right? And I'm still showing up for my children. So, really having grace with yourself, still being consistent in showing up when you can, and recognizing that all of that is going to pay off in the end as long as you're being consistent and you know what you're doing it for.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. The consistency of showing up. Yes, because my midwife, when I had my little one, he's now 2.5, so he's not that little anymore, but still, I'm mostly on his schedule still. She always told me, pick 3 things that you want to get done today, and that includes showering.
I love it.
So, are there things that, well, yeah, that you put in the back seat?
There are. I think it's inevitable, right? So, one of the strategies that I actually do put into place in my day to day, and I wish I knew who posted it. I saw someone on Instagram, and she was also a mompreneur, and she shared like how she gets through the day to day. And I really loved what she shared. And she says, just knock off one thing for your house every day, knock off one thing for your family every day, knock off one thing for your business every day. And I think it's so powerful because from what I've been doing, even if it's just like, okay, I'm going to spend 30 minutes to clean the kitchen because it's been kind of, the clutter's been building up, right? Great. I've done that for the house. I'm spending this hour with the girls, taking them to the park. And then I've knocked out a few emails for my business today. That allows me to feel almost productive in all aspects of my life, right? Because if I'm just spending one day, like the full day on like, let me do everything business related, then that's when the guilt really starts to creep in. And it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so guilty for neglecting the house, neglecting the family. But when you're kind of spreading yourself out throughout the day and making sure you're checking off your boxes for each part of your life, then it's like, okay, I'm doing my best to show up for all of these people, for all of these parts of my life, and the guilt is less. I don't think I do have a thing where it's like, okay, every day I want to make sure I do this. I think it really is just every day I want to make sure I'm dedicating some time to all of these parts of my life.
And this is really important. I think this is a great advice for everybody who's struggling at the moment to, combine family and business and relationship and household and all the different hats that we're wearing. So that's a great advice, Krystal. Thank you so much. And you have, like, your business, you have a big vision and you have a big mission for it. Please tell our listeners what you're doing, what you're creating at the moment.
Absolutely. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take it back a little bit. So I actually launched my entrepreneurship journey with our product line, which was launched in 2021. And what I'm going to be talking about for the most part is our Empowered by Women platform. That was born shortly after launching our product line. And the funny thing is, I really just wanted to be surrounded by so many incredible women. I just wanted the energy. At the time, I did not have this big grand vision for what it would be. I thought it was just going to be like this place for like the girls to hang out, right? And talk business and just lift each other up. But ever since, because of how passionate I've been about it, and because of how aligned it feels with me, it like continues to grow. And it's been this really beautiful, natural progression. And that vision has grown immensely with that. And so with our platform, I really just want to be able to support all of the women in business and be kind of a reminder to women that they are not only capable, but so deserving of creating lives that they love. And without all the stress and the overwhelm of it, right? And it's about being in flow, just as your podcast suggests. And I want women to realize that that's possible for them, that they can bring ease into their life without having to sacrifice all of their biggest dreams. So I really want women to continue showing up, continue to support each other. We have a online women-owned small business directory that we launched last year. So for any US listeners that have a product or service-based business and is women-owned, I would love for you to join it, because our vision for that is really to become the go-to place in the US for communities to be able to connect with all of their new favorite women-owned brands. So really creating a platform where we can show up, get the visibility that we deserve, and really celebrate each other the way that we deserve to be celebrated.
I love that so much. Oh, it's so interesting. Every time when I talk with a powerful woman on my podcast, every time I just love this so much. But it is because it is about celebrating each other. It is about coming together and supporting each other. Like this is our mojo. This is what we're made of. This is what we are made for. To create communities and to come together. Like this is the same thing that I do with my Superwoman Circle, where we support, in business endeavors, but also in personal endeavors. So, okay. So this is for US-based, what's it called? Business owners. Oh, yes. Sorry. But what is your product line about?
So we have a jewelry organizer product line that I actually have a sample here. Let me see if I can pull it out without breaking all these branches. But I used to sell jewelry back in the day, and I had accumulated so many, and they were overtaking my shelf. And I was a new mom at the time, so shelf space becomes very valuable, right? And we had a much smaller space, so I was like, I really need to do something about this and put my jewelry somewhere else, somewhere where it's more compact, but I can still see everything. I just could not find anything online. And in true DIY fashion, I've always been grown up in a creative household. I decided to create my own solution, and that eventually turned into something that I manufactured. So it's a jewelry organizer designed to look like a coffee table book. So it's very chic and discreet. Again, this is a sample, so what's inside doesn't actually reflect the current product. But there's different pages inside that holds your jewelry, so you can really flip through it as if you have a book of jewelry, and you can just take your jewelry off, wear it, and then when you're done, you close the book back up, and then you style it on your vanity, your coffee table book, or your coffee table, wherever you want to style it, so it really blends in with your household.
That is so cool. It's so cool. Do you ship internationally?
I do not yet. That is the plan of the future. We're still working out some kinks with manufacturing. But, despite all of the nightmare of that, the silver lining has been this amazing community that we've been building ever since.
Awesome. That's incredible. So before, like you said, you were selling jewelry before. Mm-hmm. So what made you shift? What made you go into entrepreneurship? Like, what was that thing that you said, this is it? Like, I'm going to jump.
Yeah. Ever since high school, I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I wasn't sure what form that was going to take. I honestly thought I was going to be a fashion designer. That was kind of just like the dream, right? But I started just taking on all of these little jobs that felt like it gave me some kind of autonomy, right? Almost as if I was a business owner, and selling jewelry was part of that because I was an independent consultant. So I was like booking trunk shows and doing follow-up and doing all the things a business owner would do. So all of these little jobs kind of just to scratch that entrepreneurial itch, right? And then it was really when I became a mom, and there's that phase of trying to find your way back to who you were pre-motherhood, right? And it's a difficult phase often, and creativity was that road back for me. So as a new mom with the probably like 6 or 7 month old baby, I started doing my DIYs again And I created a YouTube channel that kind of felt like a business for me, right? I got to like upload videos and talk about all these DIYs I did. And then fast forward to after having my second baby and really recognizing, okay, we need more space. That's when I was still thinking about this DIY. How could I DIY my own solution? It was in the middle of the night when I was holding the baby, waiting for her to go back to sleep. That was my best brainstorming hour. And I was thinking about, okay, how am I going to do this DIY? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized the merit of the design. And it really was like this epiphany moment where I was like, oh my gosh, this is like combining all the things that I love. It's combining fashion because it's jewelry, right? It's combining that creativity because I get to design the organizer. And it's really going to scratch that entrepreneurial itch because now I have a product that I'm going to be launching and a business that I have to build. And I was like, this is the culmination of everything that I've been doing in the past. And it felt like that was definitely the light bulb moment. The very next morning, I hit the ground running. I literally made my first prototype out of an empty diaper box, like an old notebook and rubber bands. And I was like, we are doing this. This is what my life has been waiting for. This was the big idea that has been planted for me. So we are just going to run with it and see where it takes us.
This is incredible. So if you ever doubt yourself, if you ever think your idea is not good or you don't know how to, grab an empty diaper box.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is absolutely brilliant because I can so relate to the late night, brainstorm sessions. Like every night I nursed my baby into sleep. I thought I started thinking. I started thinking about products. I started thinking about, my community. I started thinking about what else I could bring into my community to make it even better. How can I serve the world better? Mm-hmm. And so you touched upon that after your first child, you were trying to find your way back. And I started out as a mother guide, kind of mm-hmm. helping women transition from being a single woman transitioning into motherhood. And what I noticed was that you cannot go back. You cannot go back to the pre-children because you have you changed so much. There are so many things in your body, in your brain that really actually changed. Yeah. So what was that change for you?
I mean, of course, everything changes, right? Like you just said. And I think, finding your way back to who you were, it's not necessarily like taking back that persona in its entirety, but recognizing that you are more than just a mom. I think motherhood is a beautiful title to be able to add to all of the things that you are. And it's the one that I'm most proud of. And being a mom and all of my 3 kids now, they're a huge part of my journey. And it's something that's why I love talking about this topic, motherhood and entrepreneurship, because it's a big part of my why. It's a big part of what fuels me. And I think it's a big part of what makes my journey so special. So I think the big change was kind of me really recognizing my power, because recognizing how hard motherhood is in and of itself, but then still finding kind of that road to figuring out how do I incorporate all of my big dreams that I had pre-motherhood with my new current reality of being a mom and having to pour so much time, love, and energy into these tiny little humans. Like, could those coexist? And for me, I feel like I've found this beautiful life where it is coexisting. And like I said in the beginning of this, I want to be that reminder to other women, like, yes, it is possible. You can have it all. And you don't have to, all of a sudden, just because you become a mom, give up on everything that you previously dreamt about. So recognizing, wow, like, I'm doing this. I think that's been one of the biggest changes. Obviously, it's been difficult. It's been a long road to get here, but learning how to have grace with myself, learning how powerful all of the moves I'm making are and the words that I'm saying, not just for my business, but for the way that it's impacting my children as they're growing up. I've seen that trickle effect of my own mindset being instilled in them, which is so beautiful. They're really like showing me how creative they are. I really think my oldest daughter is going to be an entrepreneur too. Obviously, there's no pressure, but she always talks about having her own business, right? All the things that she wants to do. And it's just really cool to see. And being able to expose them to this larger world of other women in business has been so impactful. So, really recognizing my purpose.
Ooh, love that word, purpose.
Mm-hmm.
When was the moment for you when you realized this is it?
I don't know. That's a good question. And I think with our Empowered by Women platform, it's almost like a recurring moment, right? Because for me, it's like continuous impact. There is no like one achievement that I'm waiting to hit where I'm like, I've made it. This is what I was born to do. There continue to be all of these little moments and reaffirmations from the universe or from the community around us where I'm like, okay, I'm onto something. I really am making a difference. I really am making an impact. People are seeing what I'm doing. People are resonating with it. So that's what I love about it, right? It's not just, it hasn't been that one pivotal moment where this is my purpose. Everything has just been feeling really good. And I've been allowing myself to lean into that. And that's what I want to create for my life, right? I want something that feels good. We're only here for such a short time. And I've always believed in doing something that you love versus just chasing, the money, right? When you do something that you love, I truly believe that the money will come as long as you show up consistently, you show up with conviction. One of the things that I like to say is be loudly passionate, right? Tell everyone what it is that you're doing and say it with love and with conviction, and with pride, and your tribe will show up, the money will come, and everything will just kind of flow from there. So yeah, I think it's been like a consistent thing where all of these little moments just keep adding up and keep reaffirming my purpose, which I feel like you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it does, when you talk about it, it does sound so easy. It's like, yeah, and you do that and you do this and then it just comes. But actually, when you are in that state, when you are convinced of what you do, when you know your value, and when you know what you're bringing to the world, then you're raising your vibration to the point where the things come to you.
Absolutely.
And I know this is maybe like a little bit, out of this world when I say, what do you do to stay in that space? What do you do to stay in this high vibration? Are there any practices or are there any, mindset shifts that you did? Like, what have you done? What is your secret?
There's definitely ebbs and flows. So I'm not always in that high vibration state, right? And I think it's really important to be realistic about it. I think that is a huge part of the mindset piece, right? It's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. You're not always going to be seeing the results of your hard work. And it is hard. While I'm talking about it, it seems easy because it feels good, but there's still hard work that goes into it. And I think recognizing that is so important. So when I started my entrepreneurial journey a few years ago, like really, really started it with the launch of our product line, mindset was I was very intentional about my mindset. And I really said to myself, okay, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to launch this business, I really need to work on my mindset and make that commitment to myself, to my family, that I'm going to follow through with this business, that I'm going to do what I need to do. And part of that mindset piece was one day, multiple days, I'm sure, things are not going to go my way. I need to know that that's going to happen before it happens and recognize that that's not just because I'm incapable, right? Or I'm incompetent or I'm unworthy. It's just because that's a part of the journey. And I need to recognize that there is paths around it. There's paths through it. And that's not the end all be all. That's not going to stop me because I'm making this commitment to moving forward. So again, going back to just what feels good and having grace with myself, when I have those moments where I'm like starting to question things, where that, the imposter syndrome is starting to creep in, those are the days where I really allow myself to sit back and recognize, okay, I do need rest. I do need to take a reset from my business. Maybe that ends up being a day where I spend majority of it with my family and I'm not, allocating as much time to my business because I need to step away from it, right? I need to kind of release all of the stress that it's putting on me or all of that doubt that it's putting on me and sit back into the present moment with my why, which is my family, and allow myself to just be, in this present state where I'm relaxed, where I'm enjoying the current moment. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about all the things that I have to build. And I'm just being me and I'm just being my mom, who I am as a mom. And then the next day, I kind of, start to pick up where I left off. I'm still committed to showing up, right? Even if I'm not feeling the greatest, even if I'm starting to doubt myself. And then when I allow myself to show up, then the momentum slowly starts to build. I think when it gets really tough, that's when I'm really intentional about, let me carve some time out to journal, to do some affirmations, to do some gratitude. That has been really key in my lowest moments, right? Where I'm really doubting myself. I just journal and I write all the things, right? I'm so grateful for where I am. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to pursue this dream. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my house. I am doing amazing things. People are resonating with my mission. These are all things that I write down. Because I think journaling is so powerful. I know there's some people that don't do it, but if you don't do it, oh my gosh, it really is so powerful. And I think you should try to incorporate it into your life, whether you can do it on a daily basis or not. So I feel like there's different ways that you can get back to that high vibrational state, but being able to self-reflect on what you need in that present moment and being self-aware of that is really important.
You touched upon so many amazing points right now. So first of all, give yourself grace if your life does not look Instagram ready. Then the second one is show up for yourself. Then the third one is be committed to what you're doing, to what you're saying. Hold yourself accountable for what you're doing. And then also raise your vibration, come back to yourself, like really listen to yourself. Like all of those are like amazing things and amazing tips for our listeners that I just wanted to condense a little bit so that if you're taking notes right now, this is what you should take away from this. So this is my last question. No, I have one more question before I ask the last question. And that is, when people want to connect to you, where can they find you?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I will say that I'm bummed out because I love chatting with you. This has been a great first podcast back since having the baby. But Instagram, definitely, I'm very active on Instagram. So at Empowered by Women, which you can see on the screen. And then our product line is called Book of Bijou. Bijou is Bijoux. It's French for jewelry. No, I'm not French. It just sounds really pretty. And then our website, also empoweredbywomen.com or bookofbijou.com.
Beautiful. And if that was too fast for you, you also find the links in the podcast description or underneath this video, wherever you're listening or watching us. So my last question. If you could make a wish today and that would come true today, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, I wish you would have prepped me for this ahead of time. I feel like that's a question that I need to sit with. If I can make a wish today and that wish would come true. Ooh, that's so tricky. I think we'll stick back to our mission. If I can make a wish today and that wish would come true, it would be that my message really resonates with the people that are listening, and at least one person out there takes this message, this reminder from me to make that leap and bet on themselves, right? And recognize, okay, you know what? I am fully capable of doing all of these big things that I've concocted up in my head and that I've always dreamt about. And I'm going to make the leap to do that. So whoever is out there listening and wants to make my wish come true, send me a DM about it. I would love to hear about it, but that's going to be my wish.
Yes, I love that. Send Krystal a DM and also send Krystal lots and lots of love because I loved our conversation here. Thank you so much for coming on as your first podcast interview back.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It was so good. I was so nervous about being rusty, but this has been an incredible conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it. That's it for today. That's our show. Thank you so much for coming on and staying with us until the end. And please don't forget, bet on yourself and send Krystal a DM. If you have any questions or suggestions, then please reach out at bea@superwoman.coach. You can also find me on Instagram at moving_river. And if you would love to make my wish come true today, then I'm wishing that you go back and rate and review the show. Give us 5 stars and be sure I will read every comment of yours. It would just mean the world to me. And until next week, keep shining, keep learning, keep growing, and keep flowing.